All right, hello. My name is Aaron. Gonna do a little bit more talking about a book today. This one is kind of special. A special book to me. I read it a lot. Well, I read it multiple times as a young adult, and again as a slightly older adult. Yeah, it's as a kid. The book is Into the Wild, John Krakauer. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know. Hard to get it in light. That's it. You can't really. There we go. Well, not really in frame. It doesn't matter. Yeah, the book. As a young adult and as a kid, I read this book, and I really romanticized kind of the role that Alex played within the book as really more of a hero. Um, but as I grow older and consider his predicament and the choices that he made, I think it's more safe to say, in my mind, he fits kind of into the category of anti-hero, um, and just in the sense that he he doesn't he's not traditionally heroic. First of all, which is kind of the trope of an anti-hero. He is, but more to the point is that he's not really well, to be perfectly brash and frank about it. I think Alex, more than heroic, was a bit delusional, um, and I think that was something that was instilled in him by his kind of, I guess it would be a tumultuous family life, and tumultuous in the sense that his father was just kind of this tyrannical figure within his family who seemed to have this attitude of things are okay, but they're not good enough. Um, he certainly he didn't seem to treat Alex like the adult that he was, or that he could really do anything totally correctly, even though Alex was by all standards of measure, he was a pretty bright young kid who was doing well. He might have been a bit eccentric, but that is not a crime. Um, Although it did seem to be, in the eyes of his father, who is this very materialistic and worried about appearances, sort of individual. Um, this is kind of displayed in the beginning of the book when Alex is graduating college, and his father offers to well, he either offer yeah, I think he offers to buy Alex a new car because he's driving this kind of shabby old Datsun. I think it's like a 1.8. I don't know what it is, but it's like this old Datsun yellow kind of piece of crap. And it's a good car. It runs well. That's what Alex says. It's like it runs fine. It's a great car. Why would I get rid of it? And his father kind of protests and alludes to the fact that this car is kind of a blemish on the face that is my perfect reality, and he doesn't take that very well. And his father is just kind of this no nonsense kind of tyrannical individual, and no nonsense kind of in a bad way. It's not, you can be no nonsense and still be kind of a good person, but yeah. So I think kind of the iron fist with which Alex's father kind of ruled over the family kind of squeezed and squeezed out any like trust or love that Alex could have for kind of the greater society as a whole. I think Alex kind of takes the frustration and anger that he feels towards his father and extrapolates that out into kind of the larger societal structure, which under certain examination, and many people have examined it in this way, can seem like a tyrannical hierarchy where power is there's an entire school of thought called Marxism that literally is predicated upon this idea that life is really just a manifestation. Life and success is a manifestation of power, not necessarily a manifestation of merit or competence. So, which I think is the more fair and also kind of utilitarian way to look at the world. If you see the world as just kind of endless struggles for power, which is the case in some instances, although I don't think as many as people are willing to believe. If you see the world in that way, then it's pretty crushing. It seems like if you're not born with this power, or if you don't really wish to kind of wield your power against others, which is, I think, what most people feel. Most people don't want to feel powerful. They want to feel competent, and they want to feel like they're making a difference. But I think it goes against kind of the human spirit, to be cliche about it, to say that everyone is trying to manifest and shove their power onto other people all the time. I don't agree with that school of thought, and I think it's kind of a dark and nihilistic way to look at the world. But that's kind of an aside. But I think that this kind of idea that was kind of microcosmically expressed in Alex's family through his father, kind of warped Alex's mind into the inability to appreciate any role in society that he could find, and really any role in any family that he could find. Which is the interesting thing about Alex's journey, is he experiences and meets all these different individuals who seem to be showing him, true, very open love, and inviting them into kind of their impromptu familial structures, and some of them are not impromptu, some of them are married, but they're viewing Alex as this kind of this son figure, and Alex is finding multiple father figures along the way. I mean, he finds a father who lost his son. He finds another father who lost his son, a couple that lost their son, kind of that hippie gypsy couple that just kind of drives around, that he meets in multiple instances, and he finds them, and he is shown and experiences real love at the hands of multiple individuals. But for whatever reason, and I think it's mostly his just kind of foolhardy delusion, he's just not really willing or able to accept that, whichever one may be the case. And it's this drive and kind of just this drive to experience what is outside of society, that is kind of warping his mind and dictating his decisions, and dictating his entire quest that he makes to visit Alaska and make it in the wilds, which I think I think kind of another idea that comes into play here is the idea of nature versus kind of culture. It's kind of a human versus nature, I guess, is another way you could put it. Nature is what we were born of, and then humans kind of cultivated nature in a way where we can live and kind of prosper in a humanistic way, and express ideas and thoughts that we have as humans that don't necessarily exist in nature, like the ideas of love and things like that. And you can anthropomorphize some of those ideas, like octopuses. A female octopus literally dies to give birth, I think, is a thing, and there are pod structures within various sorts of whales. So there are elements of humanistic ideals within nature, but that's mostly due to utility. And you can also make the argument that what humans have done is due to utility, because the societies that we have created are really just ways for us to extend our own lives and make things kind of as progressive as possible, so that humans can grow and can kind of influence the world in whatever way that they will, which some people would say is badly. But I think one mistake that Alex is making here is he's viewing nature as almost something that is outside society, which is true in a sense, but also he's viewing nature through this what I think is kind of a childish lens. I think he thinks that he's going to get into nature and everything's going to be beautiful and easier, and just more natural, just more. He's going to be able to survive. I mean, he undertakes a quest with zero training, to one of the harshest places on the planet, which is the Alaskan frontier. I mean, it's freezing. There's grizzly bears and other, whatever other plethora of predatory animals that exist in the Alaskan frontier. Wolves, I don't know. Oh, that was a light flash. But yeah, it's not. It just seems to bring it. It just all seems a little delusional. And as a kid, I was like, oh, Alex is this brave, intelligent individual who sees the inner workings of the corrupt society, and he is casting that away so that he can live in the natural way which humans are supposed to live. And I think that's kind of softly is expressed kind of a little bit these days. Everyone is human advancement is kind of predicated upon, in some people's mind, is kind of predicated upon destroying the earth. So humans are destroying the earth is kind of a phrase that gets thrown out there a lot, but you could also literally turn those two words around and say the earth is destroying humans, and it has been since the inception of humankind. The earth is destroying everything. I mean, that's the nature of death and disease and just terrible circumstances. I mean, the earth, as much as it is, as much as it can be, as much as our existence and the birth of everything can be attributed to the earth, you can also attribute the earth and nature. You can also attribute death and disease and everything else to that. So it's not as cut in stone, or it's not as set in stone as one might think. I'm not a huge subscriber or a huge fan to the idea that humans are destroying the earth. I think humans are progressing, and it's just recently that we really understood any impact that we're having on the earth and what is really the environment. So cut us some slack. But Alex takes this idea and he extrapolates it to the farthest possible region, and runs away essentially. And I think that's because he's afraid. He has a fear that has been instilled in him by his tyrannical father. He's afraid of society because he's afraid of his dad, and it's a really sad. It's really a sad story. Yeah, it is sad in some parts. But I think that the point of the story is overall kind of it's devastating to see this really smart, bright, young man just kind of throw whatever piece of society he could be, whatever he has to offer society, he just kind of casts it away so that he can go and experience what he believes to be a more natural existence, or what he believes to be the right thing to do. And yeah, that's shitty, and it's a little selfish. And I don't even necessarily, and I'm not one of those people that is of the thought process that it's wrong to be selfish. It's not wrong to be selfish. It's survivalistic to be selfish. I mean, we all have selfish wants and needs, and those are not bad. They're not selfishness at its core is not bad. There are selfish acts that can be bad because they kind of cut against the grain of what a cohesive and harmonious society needs. And so I think in this case, in Alex's case, he is being unduly selfish because he's undertaking this quest with zero training and kind of against the will of his I don't know, it's not his destiny, but kind of he has no training. He's forsaking his entire family to do something that he doesn't even fully understand, it seems. he's acting on a whim, on a hugely strong whim. Because I mean, there are multiple. I think one of the most interesting scenes in the book, in the movie, is at the very beginning of his quest. He still has these small modicums of kind of society, I guess you could say. He has these two things, or a few things, that connect him to the society that he's trying to cast away, which would be his car and his money. And he's driving or whatever. He pulls over and he's sleeping in his car, and his car gets caught in a flash flood and kind of totaled. And I think there are two interpretations that one can make of this moment. Not even There's two interpretations that Alex could make of this moment. One of them is that nature is kind of telling him, hey, don't bring these pieces of society into nature. You need to undertake this quest entirely naturally, entirely broken off from the society that you see as bad. And I think that's how he's interpreting it, if he's interpreting it at all. I mean, I'm reading a book, so it's interesting to think about these things. But what I think the proper interpretation there, or if you were to interpret it, what I think the smart thing to do would say, hey, nature is punishing, is reprimanding you for doing something so foolhardy and stupid, and it's telling you to turn around, go back home, you stupid kid. And even saying that now makes me feel not so good, because I still appreciate who Alex was. He was an incredibly brave and smart person, and it was really unfortunate that things unfolded the way that they did. And it's the saddest thing is to think someone that brave and that smart, what they could have been if he hadn't decided to throw his life away. And yeah, that's that. I really like this book. It's really good, and I think, but I think a lot of people read it in that way, where they're romanticizing Alex, as opposed to learning from him, which is what we really should be doing. And I mean, even you can learn from something that you romanticize. That's not the point. But I think to look at the full scope of what's going on, that's why they included the part about his father. Because if it was just a story about some wanderlust struck individual who went off on a inspiring mission to the Alaskan frontier with zero training, it would be just that. But they included information about his father and his family life, and I think they did that for a reason. John Krakauer did that for a reason, because he wanted to outline why Alex was the way that he was, and ultimately I think why it wasn't a good idea. And that might be a little bit of a reach. I don't know if John Krakauer was trying to communicate that, but that's how I read this book now. That's how I understand the story now. So it's Sunday, 3:28 a.m. I'm awake really late. I slept really well. Never mind. I'm awake late. Yeah. Check it out though. Great book. Written really well. Movie's really good. Soundtrack's cool. Eddie Vedder's the man for writing that entire soundtrack. Well, maybe not the whole thing, but he wrote a lot of it. But that's that. And have a happy Sunday, happy Monday, have a good week, good life, and I will catch you later.